Welcome back, everybody, to video number 3. For those of you who follow me, you know that this is the video where we touch on the working royals and what they're doing. And lately, the stars for the last 3 days have been the king and queen, and that is such again today. So let's jump in and cover it. Let's go. Really quickly, though, first I want to wish a happy 4th anniversary to Beatrice and Edo. This second picture I've never seen before. Love it. They look so happy together. Moving on. We're going to move on now to Charles and Camilla. The two of them went for the state opening of Parliament. We knew it was going to be grand, but I absolutely loved watching it. Now, there's a few traditions that I had never seen before. What you see on that pillow is the imperial state crown, and the only time it's worn is during the coronation or at Parliament. Now, it's taken there in its own carriage. I'm sure the amount of security around this thing had to be just, I can't even imagine, to make sure somebody didn't, steal it. FYI, the crown has 2,868 diamonds, 17 sapphires, 11 emeralds, 269 pearls, and 4 rubies. It has some of the most famous jewels in the collection. St. Edward's sapphire, which is in the center of the cross on top, was supposedly worn in a ring by St. Edward the Confessor and was discovered in his tomb in 1163. This crown, just FYI, was made for the coronation of King George VI in 1937, replacing the crown that was made for Queen Victoria in 1838. Also, just as an FYI, the robe that King Charles was wearing was previously worn by his great-grandfather, King George V. Charles and Camilla left Buckingham Palace at 11 a.m. They were escorted by the household cavalry. People were lining the streets, by the way, with signs and with balloons because, it was Camilla's birthday. Charles and Camilla were taken to Parliament in the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, which was pulled by 6 gray horses. It was a beautiful sunshine day. Beautiful day. The Union flag was lowered at the Palace of Westminster and replaced by the Royal Standard to signify the presence of the monarch. Now, a ritual occurred, I don't know if it was before or after Charles got there, but it's called the Black Rod. And basically, they shut the door of the Commons. They shut the door in somebody's face. And then the guy pounds on the door and demands it open. And this has happened ahead of every king's speech since 1642. I'm sure there's a beautiful tradition behind that somehow, somewhere that I'm just not aware of. Anyway, the king and queen arrived, and they came in through the sovereign's entrance. This is a doorway reserved just for the monarch, and they had to go past, however, just so you know, there were small anti-monarchy protesters. They didn't pay any attention to them. Anyway, they entered the House of Lords just before 11:30, and they led the royal procession before taking their seats. Now, of course, all of this is going on. The calm speaker, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, led the MPs to the Lords. Prime Minister Starmer was there walking next to Rishi Sunak. Apparently they were chatting and laughing. Remember, this is just 2 weeks after Starmer took over, so I don't think anybody was expecting all of that. And then Charles and Camilla took their seats. Charles's throne is just a little higher. But then something happened, and Charles was most unhappy. I don't blame him. The first thing that happened, and you're going to see it because I actually have a video, is Charles went to sit down, and the page boy is supposed to, organize the robe. And I guess the kid had a little bit of an issue. And they're saying Charles got irritated, but you can hear the kids whispering. They're saying thank you, and, nobody was really upset. But the second thing was some idiot had his cell phone in there, and it wasn't on silent. It started ringing, and they didn't stop it. Here you go. Watch this. So Charles went in. He goes up. He has a seat. And these are young boys, by the way. They're like 11, 12 years old, they look like. And they're trying to arrange the robes. And the one kid tried to move the robe off of Charles's hand. And I guess he didn't do it completely. So Charles eventually just flicked his hand and did it himself. Okay, now comes the part where you hear the cell phone. Listen closely. All right, so then Charles starts talking, and his speech, it's being reported, was 1,421 words long, which means it was the longest speech at a state opening of Parliament since 2003. That was a long speech. Please keep in mind that Charles doesn't write this speech. It's written for him. He reads it. But what he said was that government programs based upon the principles of security, fairness, and opportunity for all. Mr. Steimer outlined a blizzard of 40 bills in their new legislative program, with the Prime Minister vowing to deliver real change that transforms lives. They're talking about major overhauls of the planning system, a net zero push, a truancy crackdown, and bringing channel smuggling gangs under terror laws. Very interesting. When it was over, Charles and Camilla left about midday, and that officially starts the new session, making, the way for the MPs to get back to work in the House of Commons. They got back in the coach. Charles was seen saluting as they returned back to Buckingham Palace. Now, for those of you who are wondering, over 1,100 members of the armed forces and almost 200 horses were there for the state opening of Parliament. They had soldiers from the Grenadier Guards, the Irish Guards, and the Coldstream Guards. They also had personnel from the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy. They lined the route of the royal procession. I am very, very impressed by all the pomp and circumstance, and I'm also very, very happy that Charles only had to wear that crown, for that bit of time, because he said it was so heavy at the coronation, it actually hurt his neck. He had a neck ache from wearing the thing. Could you imagine how heavy that crown is? FYI, there is another tradition I just want to let you guys know about, where a member of Commons is taken hostage in Buckingham Palace while the monarch attends Westminster. And this dates back to when the monarch and Parliament's relationship was more strained. So the king wanted assurances he wouldn't be harmed while in Westminster Abbey. Have you ever? Now, just real quickly, I'm going to be releasing a personal message coming up soon to explain, because people are really confused about what's going on. So look out for that. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. Go down into the description box. You'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is right now paused. If you've donated anything to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.